Greetings once again, ladies and gentlemen. It's Monday evening, and you are in touch. You are in tune with interesting ideas. My name is Stan Houston. Thank you for your time. Generally, on Monday, I just want to come to you a little bit later in the day because you've had a busy day, and perhaps as you're kind of tuning down, maybe 15 or 20 minutes, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more if it's helpful and thoughtful for you just to have some ideas that might be useful, practical, maybe even slightly inspiring to help you make it through the week that's before you. That's what we try and do, interesting ideas, and today about two or three quick things. Wow and whoa, and then wow. And then do you think it would help if I'd say thank you first? There we go. Wow, whoa, wow. And do you think it would be helpful if I would say thank you first? Let's see where that takes us. My name is Stan Houston. Thank you for being with us. The program begins right now. I tried to spend some significant time just getting ready for a grandson and daughter who are coming to spend the week with us for their spring break. And of course, that takes a lot of grandparenting time as we get ready to do that. However, I did have a few moments for reflection about some things because I just happened to see that coming across my inbox were a whole bunch of people who are now saying, hey, it's artificial intelligence, AI. One guy said, from now on, my entire mission in life is to help you figure out how to make more money using artificial intelligence. And then there was somebody else, a very clever and smart young man came out and said, now he has the answers. Could be good, could be bad, and he went through a fairly significant little treatise on what you need to look out for and watch out for. I'm not so sure I have anywhere near that ego that I can say I can help you figure it out, or in that sense of being smart enough to help you do just that. But I did spend some time doing that just to learn about it, and here's what got me. First of all, it's going to be a wow in many, many ways. I did an experiment. I used one of them, and I just simply asked a question that's personal as it can be. My wife has gone through a significant surgery for AFib and, atrial fibrillation of the heart. And I simply said to the chat guy, whatever, chat GP, hey, I'd like about a 500-word essay on atrial fibrillation surgery and what you can do to recover from it. And, and all of a sudden it came up, and I printed it out, and it was wow. It was a very cogent and concise, precise, and it fit with the knowledge that I had about that, and it talked about how atrial fibrillation happens, what are some of the solutions, and then if you go through this very significant intervention called an AFib, they literally go in and deaden parts of the out-of-control heart, and that oblation, as they call it, and it described how you can recover from that. And I found that, it was more than acceptable. It was very, very helpful, and it would be something that I could easily pass on my blog or on this radio program. And you would say, if you were interested, that's good. Thank you very much, Stan. And Stan had nothing to do with it except to ask the question. So it is a wow. However, here's a little bit of the woe. It is obviously going to have the bias of the programmers. It's the stuff they put in to form the algorithms there. It's not going to be able to be very helpful with some of the ultimate moral and ethical questions because it will, of course, hedge its bets. Now, it may give you some of the good arguments, one or the other, other arguments, one or the other, for a point of view. And it may do that, but that's helpful. But hey, be careful of that because it's going to depend on who put the recipes in the stew. And you're taking the stew out. So that's part of it, but that's part of the woe. But the other part of the woe is keep in mind that right now there are a variety of smaller little, this is great. This is the whole thing. Those people who can start their own little AI, and by the way, there's also AA, which is artificial art. And then there's people who, like me, have to worry because there's also, as I say, I make my living by speaking, Stan the spokesman. There also is the artificial voice. And you know what? They're quite good. Most of you wouldn't even recognize that it's not a real person. Now, I recognize it because I know what to listen for, but you don't for the most part. And who cares? It said the words, it said them correctly, and it put the information out there. But woe also in the fact that these smaller companies are going to be bought up and not be able to compete with the big boys who are already, of course, Microsoft already has gone in, and they are probably going to dominate the AI business. And so they're going to get richer and more powerful than they already are. So that's the woe as far as I see it. Please keep in touch with me as you begin to experiment with it. There'll be a lot of stuff out there. Don't believe all of it, of course. Check out most of it. Think about it. And perhaps if you're a believer like me that you should seek some spiritual wisdom. Put it to the test of wisdom, insight, and truth. And put it into the part of your psyche, your soul, and your mind that is in touch with things that are spiritual before you jump in and use it extensively in your world, your business, and what you're up to now. There's the wow, and there's the woe. Okay? I'm Stan Houston. This is Interesting Ideas, and now just a fun little story about balloons. And wow. I'll be right back. Well, the great balloon caper goes forward, and now it seems that we have discovered that that was a big, probably a spy balloon. It certainly was doing some surveillance. I guess that research, but it certainly could be called spying. It was Chinese, and it left. They discovered it left China some time ago, and then, of course, went all the way across the Pacific up north through the Aleutian Islands, again, part of the territory of the U.S., over into Canada, then down into from Alaska to Canada, and then down through the middle part of the United States, and finally came out here on the East Coast. I'm in North Carolina, and off the coast of South Carolina, they finally took it down. And of course, the story is that it took a $500,000 missile to take it down. But then there were 3 more things that looked like balloons, and they took them out too. But they don't know what they were or where they were from. They think one was a $12 balloon that was sent up by a hobby club somewhere in the state of Michigan that just enjoys sending up balloons. and they shot him down. Again with the $500,000 missiles. And of course, I don't need to say anything more because the media is full of it, and you can figure that out for yourself. But we are into the balloon conversation, which led me to a funny little story, which I don't know how I happened across it, but it wasn't even in relevance to this current situation. It was an older story, and it was simply that a man told the story that he went in and was so happy that he was going to buy his daughter one of those helium balloons. And they went in and they carefully chose it, and she was so happy. And so they went out and they were having a good time. They went into the park with the balloon, and then all of a sudden she stumbled a bit and dropped the balloon, and of course it goes flying into the sky. And the father says, "Oh no, that's terrible, oh no." And his daughter just looks up as her balloon goes up into the sky. And guess what she says? "Wow! Look at it go!" And she is delighted. She didn't lose a balloon. She let it go, and it flies. It flies. It flies up into the sky. And it's a wow. So we thought it was something bad and sad, and it's something that made her glad. I think that's just a cute little story. Well, if I can, I also want to tell you a little bit of an old story. This goes back way over 100 years ago. But the story is just as current as it could be about expectations, perhaps faith, and perhaps something about the thank you. So that's coming up as we finish up. I'm Stan Houston. These are interesting ideas here to help you make life better and make business better for you. That's what we do, and I think for the most part, we can do it well. Okay, here goes an old story. When my little son was about 10 years of age, his grandmother promised him a stamp album for Christmas. Christmas came, but no stamp album, and no word from grandmother. The matter, however, was not mentioned, but when his playmates came to see his Christmas presents, I was astonished after he had named over this and that the gifts received, to hear him add, "and a stamp album from grandmother." I had heard it several times when I called him to me and said, "But Georgie, you didn't get an album from your grandmother. Why do you say so?" There was a wondering look on his face, as if he thought it strange that I should ask such a question, and he replied, "Well, Mama, Grandma said so, it's the same as." Yeah. I could not say a word to check his faith. Grandma said so, so it is the same as. A month went by, and nothing was heard from the album. Finally, one day, I said to test his faith, and really wondering in my heart why the album had not been sent, "Well, Georgie, I think Grandma has probably forgotten her promise." "Oh, no, Mama," he quickly and firmly said, "she hasn't." I watched the dear trusting face, which for a while looked very sober, as if debating the possibilities I had suggested. Finally, a bright light passed over it, and he said, "Mama, do you think it would do any good if I should write to her thanking her for the album?" Thank her first. I do not know, I said, but you might try. A significant truth began to dawn on me. In a few minutes, a letter was prepared and committed to the mail, and he went off whistling his confidence in his grandma. In just a short time, a letter came back saying, "My dear Georgie, I've not forgotten my promise to you of an album. I tried to get such a book as you desired, but could not get the sort you wanted. So I sent on to New York. It did not get here till after Christmas, and it was still not right. So I sent for another, and as it has not come yet, I'm going to send you the $3 to get one in Chicago. Your loving Grandma." As he read the letter, his face was the face of a victor. "Now, Mama, didn't I tell you?" Came from the depths of a heart that had never doubted, against hope, believed in hope that the stamp album would come. While he was trusting Grandma, she was working, and in due season, faith became sight. I love that. Does it help to give thanks in advance? You know what? It is so human. We want sight when we step out on the promises that come to us from God and other people. And you know, Long, perhaps it would be helpful to believe and to say thank you first. Just a story and an idea for your thought and consideration on this Monday in challenging and messy times. I'm Stan Houston. The program is Interesting Ideas, and it has now come to an end. But just think about that and give me a few words, and we'll be done for the day. Do you think it would be helpful if I would say thank you first? Just let that sit on your head. There's a part of me, now this is what happened. I sent out to about 12 people a request that they give me some feedback on a piece of work I had done. And to this date, I've received nothing from any of them. And they're good folks. They're folks that know me, and I know them, and I'm still waiting. I would certainly appreciate it. And I thought, after reading that little story, I wonder if I should just send them an email and say, "Thank you for your response to my project." And you know what? I'm just wondering if I would say thank you in advance. First of all, that might be good for some of the things I think about, want, and pray about. Say thank you first. And then maybe, you know what? That just might bring some of them to say, "Oh, that's right. I should do that for Stan." Maybe I should thank them first. Perhaps I can help you. My name is Stan Houston. What It Takes Radio is the present project, along with many. WITRadio.net. WITRadio.net. We want to help you do exactly what I'm doing, and that's sharing stories, inspiration, and encouragement with people that you love and people that you don't know, but it's all around the world. WITRadio.net. And if you just want to do a search engine thing for me, you'll probably find something there that might be helpful and useful to you. So all the best and blessings to you. May it go well for you. We'll be around most of this week, or we may be gone for a couple days because we've got some grandpa stuff to do, and that's more important than radio right now. And I'm sure you would agree. All the best and blessings to you, and thank you first, and thank you afterwards. Bye for now.